This is the way my grandparents, that is mummy's daddy, Felix Rodericks, and her mother, Natalia Rodericks, used to come all the way from the village, which is just a few blocks away, and used to come for lunch. Felix Rodericks used to come for lunch every day. And he would even correct my mother when he asked her what was there to eat. She said cauliflower. He said, don't say cauliflower, say cauliflower. At that time, that old man who passed away when he was 91 years old corrected. He knew correct English, which today even people don't know. Unless, like me, they went to Miss Langham in London. Because in our schools, the W's and the V's were never taught correctly. So they used to come here. My grandmother would come in a big sari, the East Indian red colored sari. Red because her husband was still living. Otherwise it used to be bluish, dark blue color. So they used to come every day. This was the way. Now we are going back to where they lived.
Okay.
This is the Canterbury village. They used to call it Canterbury to make it anglicized. But my father's house is right there in that corner, and behind me is the cross, which my father and his friends living in the same village came and built a cross maybe more than 100 years ago. And this is Father Rufus's house. Then there is Father Alvin's house. Then our house is right at the back. We'll be coming to a house later on. But we now go to my mother's house, which is in the village. You can see the roof tiles. These are Mangalore tiles. Right. Good to prevent the water. Even this house is there with the same tiles. At the back where you see the saloon now.
Let's look at the cross. Tell us more about the cross.
Now, the cross is erected in commemoration of the Silver Jubilee of NCYMCS, which I think is New Canterbury Young Men's Christian Society. You can see J.F. Rodericks, who was the president. Oh, it was 19th May 1935. And my daddy's name is there, second.
Nicholas Fernandez.
N.F. Fernandez. Neto, Gonsalves, Rodericks, these are all friends. And W.T. Fernandez, also Willie Fernandez. They're all relatives in a way. And they started this cross. Now they have built a little fencing around it to prevent it from being taken away. Now the old cross was built by Pascal Rodericks, which is another person from the village. Now we shall go to the village to where my mother lived. I think my mother and father must have been seeing each other, being in close proximity. I must have fallen in love, seeing each other so many times. Shall we go there?
Okay.
Actually, there are two cribs. One has got a cat going into it.
Yes, there are two cribs here.
This is a waterfall.
Right, this has got a river.
Yeah, the water is not very easy yet. That's a good idea.
But we have a pussycat in there.
Yeah. A typical village house. They always had a veranda in the front where people would come and sit down and have a break. They had no TV to watch. There was nothing else to do. So after being in the kitchen for a long time, they would come, sit down, have a break, maybe have a cup of tea or a drink. And there are many rooms. It had, as you entered, it had a hall in the front and rooms on either side. But this is typical of the tiles, roofing, Mangalorean tiles. And bougainvillea is a common flower which requires no effort to maintain. But it's home for a lot of birds. I can see them there up on this tree. They are twittering, singing. A solid wood, but you can see it's gone very old. The hinges have come, must be more than 100 years old. And this is typical because it cut off the light, the rain, and everything. And you kept it open. There are iron bars which protected any robbers to come inside. Of course, when it was built, there was no problem. This is my mother's house, Felix Rodrigues, and all his children used to live here. There was the first floor, ground floor, with many rooms. Here they used to break wood, and there was a little hut to put inside. Opposite where Rana's lived, I don't know who's living now, but you can see they have an AC now. And now one of my uncle's daughters lives here with her husband. This whole building, Bobby and Myra Fernandez.
And when Rita lived here, her first name was Rodrigues.
She was Rodrigues. Her father was Felix Rodrigues. He worked with the British government, and every day he walked to Regal Cinema, where there was a secretariat, and used to come back walking. 13 miles going, 13 miles returning. His brother lived on the other side, on the left side, facing the building. And his name is Ignatius Rodrigues. And whenever I go to church, I somehow kneel at his tombstone within the church. And I see that. Maybe we should go there and take a picture of the tombstone of Ignatius Rodrigues, his wife Quiteria. Quiteria. It's a very unusual name. And he had a daughter. And that house went to my mother's sister. My grandfather's house. At least his brother used to live on this side. The woods are all corroded, the windows are dilapidated. And now Josie lives over there. My mother's sister's son. We'll go and meet Josie. I see him in the church every morning. He goes to his brother's house for a cup of tea all the way to Hill Road. This is his daughter, who was my niece. Gregory is Rita's brother. He worked also in the secretariat.
We are first cousins actually.
First cousin, yeah.
Wow.
And this whole hall was quite big.
No, this
excuse me. This whole hall was without this wall.
This no wall
And there
was
were
here.
big, there was no wall, there was a big lovely lantern over here.
Remember that? What
I remember,
memory you
yes.
have?
And I don't know why they used to take children on the flooring here and take some leaves and beat the leaves on the children. I don't know what illness it was, but they used to water the whole place and take leaves and beat the children to get some evil spirit or some disease out.
There was not of this thing.
Yeah.
Turmoil there was here in Bangalore.
So this side was a place where Ignatius used to live. His wife, Ignatius
Your
Rodrigues.
father? No.
Ignatius Rodrigues is Felix's brother. Both Ignatius worked for the Examiner Press, and Felix Rodrigues, my mother's father, worked for the Secretariat, the government, the British
My
government.
daddy.
Yeah. Your
Father.
grandfather,
Grandfather also looked. So that's how my daddy.
that's how he got a job.
Job there.
He
Actually.
used to take suckling roast for the bosses there, and then your dad got a job. If I remember right, my memory is still at
Got a good
83.
memory of father.
At 83.
How old am I?
I don't know. You got to tell me.
You tell
Never
us.
ask a lady her
Yes,
age.
I don't mind. What is there? It is time for us to go.
Anyway, so what I was going to say, we used to call him Short Pie because he's a very shorty fellow. Short and
What about
thin.
this Dick? You are my
Dick,
father's
and
brother.
the back
My
was
God, he was a
Mummy's brother Dick, who used to booze every night and
Abuse.
use filthy language.
And there was, see, I'll tell you.
He would
there
screw
was-
up my mother, he would screw up every
Actually,
woman.
that time also.
Yes, he used to abuse very much.
But listen, you remember, this was a wooden wall.
Yes,
a
yes.
wooden and we had put cupboards.
Yeah.
And they used to bang.
I know,
bang.
I know.
And then I'll show you one window was there.
Yeah.
Come here.
Okay, let's walk and see the inside of this
Yeah.
old home. And this wonderful
dining-
kitchen.
The dining was here.
This is our kitchen.
Yeah. This was the dining room. Yeah. And
Okay.
We have
the
done it up.
staircase, and the staircase
To
going
go up, very
Yeah.
big. What is down is
There's
up.
yeah,
and we
it's
have
a
an
big
external
space.
room.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
see,
this
there was
is
a
the
window
inside
here.
staircase.
Yeah.
There was a window here. He used to stand here and abuse.
I know.
And then what we did, we sold it to one Muslim. And no,
Start.
hello. Say, these are my children. One is Anisha and Bradley, and Rohan and Diane.
Okay. cousin Anisha and cousin Rohan. Okay, this is the inside of Grandma Rita's home. So this is how an inside bedroom looks like, inside doors with the
This is all part
bars.
of the big long hall. Just imagine the size of the hall. Then there was a curtain put over here on the right side of where I am standing, and that was made into a room. Because as the family grew, and Gregory, that is Myra's father, and his wife was very pretty from Chuem village. I forget, May or some name she had. But this is a big house. How they could afford it?
You have got it, you know where you were staying?
Yes.
Where, you know where? Tell me the name.
What's behind me is the house, I think number 10 or 15 Kantwari village. We all grew up here. There were three, my father had 2, 3 other brothers, Timothy, and this is all paved now. The garden water used to rush down, and we used to come out on this very road and chill as children. And maybe use the same water to clean our bottoms. Nobody bothered to look for us and to see where we were. This is the steps from the veranda. This again is a veranda like every house had a veranda. This house looks much bigger. It didn't have all these AC stuck on top. We didn't even have fans. We had only kerosene lights. And one of the lights made in Germany was a kerosene light, which I still got in my present house. Now, again, this is like my grandfather's house. This was a big long hall, which has been divided into different families. Ultimately, as our family grew, I forgot to tell you by the way, we had a big table where this lamp was there, and all the hens would come and run around the table and even shit on the table, excuse the language, but that's what they did. And then we found that we need a bigger space. So my father, as per Elsie, when I spoke to her this morning, she said that was a place which was used as a storeroom, which was cleaned and developed, and we all had to do it. And this was next place where we lived. You see all these floorings done. But I used to sit in the corner here and study. And the other cousins would say that, well, he's going to appear for the Oxford and Cambridge exam. They used to ridicule me when I used to study. I was quite studious, maybe not very intelligent. And I used to sit under this tree. There were love apple trees still there. There was a pomegranate tree with lovely flowers. And this was a step we had. But my father sold all this place. This is the hall we lived in. And the kitchen was there. But the love apple trees are still growing strong and mighty. Okay, now we'll go and see the other side. This was the place which my father took from his brother. I don't know on what terms. But this was a beautiful hall with all the chairs on either side. And this was like a sitting room. And this was an extension. At the back was the bedroom. Earlier, we had all these rats that had burrows into the bedroom. And my father every Sunday would have a nice bottle of Beck's beer and Maxim cheese. I still remember the cheese. He would give us a small slice and we would be content with whatever was small. Whether it was a drink, whether it was a eat or a chicken among 7-8 people, you would look for bones or some piece that somebody else would give us, which they didn't like. So we grew up here and I was born in this very place. Sitting in this house, you could see the whole road who was coming and going. Now what you see around are big mansions. This was all a small cottage earlier. You can see the roofs is all corroded. Well, if you point to the roof up here, you can see it's all corroded. Then my father sold this place when we moved over to St. Paul's Road. These are good old days, good memories. But I don't know what memories can do for you. It cannot give you money. I don't know whether happy memories can make you happier or make you sad. fort, I think built around 400 or 500 years ago. And you can see on the other side, on my left is a ceiling, which makes a shortcut from Bandra to Mahalakshmi. It takes about 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, which normally would have taken 30 minutes. You know. Now this fort has become multi-purpose in the sense that you can see just lovers around. I don't know, we didn't have a chance to do all this. I envy those who are still young. But at the back you can see the Taj Hotel. Earlier, before it was built, there were just rocks and date palm trees. And after the Bandra feast, Mount Mary's Mass, as scouts we used to assemble on top for coffee. There was a sort of a haunted house at the top. And that's all gone now because the hotel has come up. And it's a nice place. And even readable used to be brought along with the other children on lands, and as we go down in the waterway near the bandstand. What we just saw was Castella the Aguada, the last bastion. In Goa too we have this Aguada fort, whatever it may mean, but I think the Portuguese found that name Aguada very magical. In 1517 saw the commandment of the Mahim fort, commandment to the might of the Portuguese as he set foot in Bandora, which is Bandra today. 1640 saw the rise of the Castella or bastion. The Portuguese built the strategic location fort as an outpost, marking the southernmost tip of the fort for potable water. There were a lot of springs on this fort, and as I said earlier, this is the same place where we used to gather, where the haunted houses was there. So this potable water was handy when they sailed across. They exist even to this day, but now serve an entirely different people, the local washermen. What do you see there?
This is the
Taj.
old Portuguese fort built 400-500 years ago to protect Bandra and Bombay.
Okay, what do you see on my right here is amphitheatre. It is built by the Bandra Bandstand Residence Trust. The restoration and afforestation plans it was started in 2003. This is a very handy amphitheatre for many public functions like Celebrate Bandra, which takes place every 3 or 4 years. But this whole place has been developed with the Taj having their big hotel, which you can see right in front of me. Earlier we had over here was the revolving restaurant, but that got damaged during the war, during the riots and bombardment. Now it's sold down, it's closed down. So this is a nice place. In front of you is the band stand, where in the good old days a band used to play. The British used to have a band, similar to at Cooperage. You also have a bandstand there, where the bands would come on every Sunday and play. This nice occasion of festivity for a Sunday has been stopped now. We do have the Navy band occasionally playing here. And in the younger days, when the kids were very small, we used to go to Agnel's ashram, which is right across there, and come down here and spend some time and let them romp and run around to their will. There's a long passage for running and sitting up on the wall. This is a good place. What you see is Father Agnel's ashram. This is a very old institution. Father Agnel was a Goan priest, and they're trying to get him canonized. But we used to come here every Sunday with the kids holding them in arms because they could not walk. I think, but for some time we did have a car. We used to bring them by car, park them out. And we had a lot of good times. When the kids were small, there was less strain. As they grew older, you had more load to carry. But we had a good time watching them run around on the opposite bandstand.
Okay.
What you see now is a building with all the permissions granted for the ace icon film actor, the Bollywood hero Shah Rukh Khan. He had purchased this vintage cottage from a Parsi gentleman long ago, and now he has developed it into his filming unit with all the offices of his own. A guy who first came to Bombay and went to the film studio in an auto rickshaw now owns all this, and he is the king of Bollywood. The Heritage Church, Urban Heritage Award 2002, St. Andrew's Church, built around 1575 AD. Then there was an extension made in 1966. It is certified Indian Heritage Society, Bombay. We are standing here in a 400 years old church, and you can see the altars are typical, that of the Portuguese style. I don't know, really, I wonder how the altars were assembled and brought. I don't think they were sculpted here, or the wooden work was done here. I have been coming here to this church and baptized in this church 83 years ago. I remember this door on the right. That wasn't existing at all. But there were big, huge boulders of stones that were removed to make the door. And from the side, the sun rays, it seems, pass from the top niche onto the altar. It is so designed. The pulpit is very ornamental, which is on the left rear side. Now we have the priest facing us to say the Mass. This church has now been recently repainted. Earlier there used to be some gold leaves which were stuck on with the paint. They were imported leaves, like a foil, which was stuck. Beyond there is the museum with all the artifacts and pieces. Very decorated, sculpted mural, and that is of Jesus rising into heaven. And on the other side we have the Virgin Mary going up.
It's the Ascension.
Yeah, it's the Ascension. This pulpit is beautifully carved, and some panels of it have been removed and sent to Australia. Somebody has done some cheating work. But the priest used to come from outside. There was a ladder that brought him up, not from within the church, but from outside. The tombstone of my granduncle, that is my grandfather's brother. He was known as Short Pie. His real name was Ignatius Rodrigues. His brother Felix Rodrigues was my mother's daughter. Now Quiteria was his wife, born on 17th April 1869. She died on 2nd May 1941. She was 72 years old. Then her husband Ignatius Anthony Rodrigues He worked for the Examiner, and both he and his brother Felix, they used to walk to town, 12 miles going, 12 miles returning. Then they had a daughter too. Maybe she's buried down here. I cannot see her name. Stone of our family. It's got a registered number, C186. James was the eldest son of my parents, Nicholas and Rita Fernandez of New Cantwell. He was born 26 November 1923, and near enough to 2 years he died on 5th September 1925. Rita Fernandez, my mother, died on 2nd January 1969. She was 60 odd years of age. And in the same year we got married, Phil and myself. My father, Nicholas Lawrence Fernandez, died on 19th April 1981. He was 85 years old. This is the Chumbai Fishing Village Basin. This is where the boats take off from and land. It always has a basin of water so the boats can comfortably arrive and go when the tide is up. My brother Melvin and lots of other boys used to come and learn swimming quietly over here because there was always water. But people like yours truly always got scared of getting drowned. So despite the fact that I've made 4 attempts to learn swimming, I'm still where I was in a way. A lot of people have built houses along the coastline here. Somebody has built a wall right across, right in front of me. And people who live around the beach have got natural, free air conditioning and view. But these are all the old buildings of Bandra. King size pomfrets. I've sat and eaten one all by myself.
Yes. Start, Mummy.
Yeah. Whenever he sees in the paper something which is not right, especially with the politician, he will immediately the next day shoot out a letter which will come in the DNA middles. And people, get surprised, oh, Jimmy has written an article. And he's very particular in, setting the right procedure. So much so, sometimes even the police officers send their men to ask Jimmy what should be the right method. And I'm really proud of him that he takes so much of trouble to take interest not only in politics but in all the other things. Ring him up and ask him for a certain current topic that is going on, and he would give the answer immediately, and with his photograph would come his answer.
There are far too many philosophies in life which one has got to go by. You can go by the book, or you can go by what your experiences in life have taught you. Coming to this chair, this is my favorite chair. As soon as I wake up, whatever time it may be, I come and sit on this chair, say my prayers, and go to church and do the odd jobs. We got married late, at the age of 40. And we were blessed with 3 lovely children. I was hoping I would get a boy at the first go, and we had Ashley, who is now 41 or so. Then we have Rita Bell, whom Ashley nicknamed as Gulu because she had chubby cheeks. Then finally we had Sonia, and that is the triumvirate. I'm happy that all our children are loving and kind, but for some pitfalls that happens with everybody in life. Ashley has had trying days for his marriage and is surviving. with his two children, where we try to put in a little bit to give support. The two girls, Rita Bell has been away in Hawaii as a doctor. Nobody in our family has been a doctor, and doctors normally become doctors in a family where there are doctors. But Rita Bell was determined. They all have that Leo spirit of determination and never say die or never give up. Sonia too has been like that, and both the girls have established themselves well in their profession and in their workplace financially.
Something to my grandson Aiden.
To my grandson Aiden, I remember we used to make him sit on the table and play with him. Now he's grown up, and it's amazing how children grow up. I have made a book for him, which is the lexicon, which he can hopefully learn some words. I wish Aiden well and to become somebody like his godmother or his aunts or his father. I wish he should grow into a handsome, he is already handsome, but he should grow into a handsome, intelligent young man. Kyle the younger is a little headstrong, but he too has got considerations, and he too got determination, and with that in mind, I do hope and wish that Kyle too grows up and is somebody in life. With regard to my three children, I wish them all well, and I wish them to enjoy the fruits of this house after I have gone. They are all welcome to be with us as much as we like them to be with us. Phil has been the guiding star in the sky to guide the children, and she has inculcated many talents because of her determination to teach them speech, music, and other talents which are still very active and which is the basis of their future life. I have been looking after them as far as their snacks and food goes, because Phil used to teach them in school, and I was there to make them some food for the stomach. Phil took care of the food for thought, and that's how we managed. And we thank God we have got such brilliant, charming, and handsome 3 children and 2 grandchildren. May God take care of them, and may their life be fulfilled. That is it.